Üst düzeye hoş geldiniz. Bu hafta Türkiye'de İngiliz Ticaret Odası Yönetim Kurulu Başkanı Chris Gaunt'u ağırlıyoruz. Mr. Gaunt, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
So let's talk about little bit briefly about 2015. How was investment to Turkey, direct foreign investment and bilateral trade as well?
Well, our pipeline, and let me first of all just say something. I mean, we're sitting here, and we've got this wonderful view of the Bosphorus on this beautiful summer day in Istanbul, overlooking this magnificent Vodafone stadium, Beşiktaş Stadium, and Vodafone being a UK company, we're very proud of this. So, I mean, that's an example of the sort of investment that UK companies are putting into Turkey, and Vodafone's a leader in that respect. So, this has been going on now from 2014 into 2015. So, this is a fine example of the sort of investment that is going in into Turkey from UK companies. But looking at 2015, our pipeline has remained quite healthy. We've still had a lot of interest from UK companies.
Because it wasn't an easy year.
It was a difficult year for many different reasons, geopolitical reasons, security reasons. But Turkey still offers a lot of opportunity for UK companies. The fundamentals are very strong. We have this dynamic demographic, half the population under 30. We have this growing middle class. We have high net wealth. We have a strong regional presence here in Turkey. Turkish businesses have hundreds of years of experience of doing business in the emerging markets in the neighborhood. So Central Asia, North Africa, Middle East. Turkey's been one of the big investors and the big trading nations with these countries historically. So there's all that knowledge and experience that we can use for UK companies who are looking to invest in our trade with Turkey, but also trade within the region.
I see. How much bilateral trade we made in 2015? Do we have an amount?
Yeah, the number is around 12 billion pounds, and was an increase on the previous year of around 10%. In fact, bilateral trade has been increasing over the last 3-4 years by sort of high single-digit, low double-digit figures. So it's all moving in the right direction. Okay. One of the issues that we do face is that the share of the bilateral trade is very much in favour of Turkey. So trade from Turkey to UK is around 65%. It could even be 70% on the latest numbers. But trade from UK to Turkey is only 30-35%. So we have to get more UK exporters exporting to Turkey. There's always been a very strong export trade from Turkey to UK, and that continues, mainly because of the strong sectors that Turkey has: textiles, engineering. We see a lot of interest in automotive. So Turkey is a very strong player, but we want to get the balance to about 50-50 in the future.
I see. So what is expected for this year? Because we almost the 1 quarter of the year. So this is the the April month. This is the 4th month of the 2016. So how is the performance until here, and what is your expectation for the rest of the year?
Yes. Well, I mean, we work on a fiscal year. So our year is April to March,
I see.
As opposed to a calendar year. But we can balance that out. That's not a problem. Again, over the first 3 months, we still have lots of interest. There has been a slowdown in actually turning projects into actual real operational activity. There has been, as you would expect, concerns about security because of the terrible bombings that have happened here in Turkey. And there's also still the issues that revolve around the business environment. Does Turkey offer a level playing field for investors? Are investors protected by the rule of law? Are there opportunities to develop strong relationships with governments? There's still a perception. The reality is something different, but there's still a perception that there is protectionism by the government for certain sectors, and we have to let British companies know that that's more of a perception than it is a reality, but it's still a perception for UK businesses. So there are the obvious issues, challenges with the geopolitical situation, but there are ongoing challenges when it comes to promoting Turkey as an attractive market for UK investors and for British companies to do business here. But as I say, we are overcoming those issues.
Should we expect a better year than last year?
I wouldn't say we would have a better year than last year. I think our
trade and investment, both sides.
Both sides, yes. I mean, we look at it in short, medium, and long term. So the short term is definitely going to be tricky. We're not going to move as quickly as we'd like to move, because there are so many unresolved issues and unanswered questions about the political situation, about the security situation, about solving these terrible things that are going on in Syria.
Geopolitical risks, you mean?
So political risk. We now have a new problem on the other side of Turkey, in Armenia and Azerbaijan. Now, hopefully, that will not become a serious problem. So, but these perceptions for UK companies, for them are important. And I've had meetings arranged recently where at the last minute they've been cancelled. And I think we'll continue to see some of that. But what we have to do as the Chamber and with our colleagues in UKTI is give a balanced appreciation of what's going on in Turkey. I mean, Turkey is getting a lot of bad press internationally, unfortunately, maalesef. And we have to change that perception, because it is a perception, it's not real. Turkey has a lot of upside. Yes, it has some downside at the moment, but it still has a lot of upside. And we've got to get that upside message, that potential that Turkey has to offer out to UK companies, and give them more confidence, not just read what's in the newspapers, but actually speak to people who have a clear understanding of what's going on in Turkey, so that they get a more balanced view, and they're not just getting all this negative news that's coming from Turkey in the region. So that's a role we have to play.
Do you have an estimate number? How increase do you expect for this year for bilateral trade?
Yes, I mean we're still looking for low single digit increases this year. On the investment side, we have 3 companies that we're working with, big UK companies, who are very interested in the PPP project on healthcare. They see an opportunity to bring UK capability to Turkey, particularly in the facilities management of these enormous hospitals that are being built, to bring operational expertise as well. UK has got a long history of PPP investment in UK. So we want to use that experience in Turkey to develop that capability here as well. So we have companies who want to get involved in the PPP. Some of them are already speaking to some of the Turkish contractors who are building the hospitals, because it's important for the facilities management companies and the the operational of these hospitals to be involved right at the beginning, because you've got to build infrastructure into the hospitals that will allow efficient energy use, cover the environmental issues, make sure that the layouts of the rooms of the hospitals and the operating theatres are up to international or world standards. So
any other sectors that interested?
Other sectors, well, energy is always there.
Yes.
I mean, we were very keen to involve in the energy sector. We'd like to see
renewable ones.
Renewable. We'd like to see more government support for renewable. I think one of the solutions for Turkey's trade deficit, because of the large imports of energy, has to be part of the solution. Has to be renewables, and Turkey has enormous renewable opportunities, and it'd be good to see government putting more investment, more incentives into developing the renewable sector, which again will help the Turkish economy going forward.
Yeah, let's talk about SMEs, because you are also focusing on SMEs, yes. Meaning the real sector.
Yeah.
And what is the situation for SMEs in Turkey? Because they are having a hard time as well, last year as well as this year, because of financing problems, as well as currency risks. Now that Fed is increasing the rate hikes, yes, the interest rate. And what do you think, what are the challenges and difficulties we have in front of us this year, 2016? There are a lot of also companies who are announcing a bankruptcy in Turkey. So how do you see this situation here?
Well, there's been a significant impact on the economy for, again, a number of reasons. The geopolitical problems, the relationship with Russia, and if you look at the tourist industry, which to a greater extent is supporting SMEs, particularly in the tourist cities, coastal tourist cities of Turkey. I mean, all the small cafes, the bakals, the support companies, small SMEs that are supporting the hotel groups, and the lack of Russian tourists is going to have having a big impact on that. So that sector will suffer. The retail sector suffers as well. I understand from the Association of Leather Goods Manufacturers, a lot of their smaller companies are also suffering because their exports are down. Again, Russia was a big export market for the leather industry in Turkey. Russian tourists were big buyers of Turkish leather goods. So that's definitely had an effect. But when the economy becomes very challenging, the SMEs probably don't, they've not managed their companies probably in the right way. I mean, a lot of the SMEs have been running their businesses on credit. A lot of their customers are also managing on credit card credit. And when they can't pay, and when their debts become too high, and they have to finance that debt, a lot of SMEs have never factored in the cost of finance. Therefore, they're left with a big gap on their profitability.
Maybe they will think a lot about partnerships now on.
Yes, and I think we're seeing a lot of consolidation as well.
Yeah.
So I mean that will happen. There's also the impact of the big chains now. I mean, Turkey is moving forward very quickly, and the retail sector particularly is now following Western models. Retail chains are taking over. big supermarkets are taking from the the small independent bakkals. In other retail, you've got chains that are establishing right across Turkey. So that's another shift that's happening in the retail sector that will have an effect on SMEs. So the SMEs have to change the way they do business. And I mean, there's one thing in UK, model in UK that's been established for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. When this sort of activity started in UK, there were groups, associations of SMEs that came together and operated as a buying group, so they maximized their economies of scale. They had more leverage when it came to dealing with the big manufacturers. And I think that's something that the SMEs in Turkey probably could look at in coming together as an association with their own association, their own buying groups. Obviously, it would be based on sectors. To be retail, it could be engineering, many different industries. But I mean, using this enormous number of SMEs that Turkey has, it's a very powerful and a very strong opportunity to come together and form their own organizations to actually give them a long-term future.
So should we expect more joint partnerships for this year with foreign companies?
Foreign companies, the potential is still there. It's not gone away. But there will be a slowdown of actually moving from creating a project to actually becoming operational. And this is something that we have to be patient through the short term. I think in the medium to long term, that potential will then be realized, and we'll start to see a lot more activity and projects actually then becoming operational, companies setting up their organizations. I mean, one of the things that we recommend to UK companies is to find a good Turkish partner. I mean, that is the best model you can have. And we've done that in the past. We will continue to do that. And it helps UK companies to reduce their risk, because the Turkish partner will help them understand the business culture, help them understand the issues with language, and if they can find a Turkish partner that also has a regional presence, that's not just operating in Turkey, but it's operating in the other neighbouring emerging markets, and that's a win-win, a big win-win. So, and this is what we promote. This is what we communicate to UK companies. And as I say, the interest is definitely there. We still have a high level of interest. And as far as UK government's concerned, Turkey is still a high priority country for UK. We've always had strong trading links going back many hundreds of years. We've always seen Turkey as our closest emerging market neighbour. I mean, it's only three and a half hours away from London. So there's a lot of benefit in that. It's not as if you're going to India or China. And when you look at the BRICS, which were the big opportunity, going back 5 or 6 years, back to 2008, before the crisis. I mean, look at the BRICS countries today. I mean, Brazil, is that a market you would want to invest in?
Not now.
Russia, China's having problems. You've got India, South Africa. Well, okay, but so Turkey still offers a far bigger and stronger proposition than any of those BRICS markets. So we shouldn't underestimate that. And this is what we want to promote to UK companies. It's close to UK. It's, as far as Istanbul's concerned, it's more of a developed market than it is an emerging market.
So the investment climate is still there.
It's still there. It's still there. But we have to, government has to, create that level playing field for investors. Has to create an environment where investors feel comfortable in coming to Turkey. They've done a lot. I'm not saying that it's all bad news. It's not. But there's a lot more that still has to be done. And once we can build that confidence, then I think for the medium and long term, the investment from UK to Turkey will increase dramatically.
Okay, how about the Iranian market? Will be challenging for Turkey? What do you think?
Well, it'll be challenging for everybody.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be challenging for Turkey. But Iran offers a massive opportunity, massive population. Iranians are business people. They've always been business people. So there's a strong business ethic there. And we see Turkey as being the door into Iran. UKTI of UK Trade and Investment, the government agency, have set up an office now in Tehran. So that's how important UK government see Iran. And we're also talking to Turkish companies who are doing business in Iran, so that we can link them up with UK companies, because we see that as a good starting model. If UK companies can work with Turkish companies who are already doing business in Iran, again, it takes away a lot of the risk of going there alone or independent, because again, Turkey's got this historical experience and knowledge of the country and the way business is done.
Okay, so I would like to have your opinion on UK will have a referendum on the 23rd of June.
Yes.
So what do you think about UK leaving the EU or staying in? So what will be the advantages and disadvantages here? I'd like to have your opinion.
Yeah, well, it's been an interesting exercise in UK, the polls are saying it's 50-50, but we know what happens to polls. Not all of them are accurate. My belief is that UK should stay in the European Union. I mean, we are a relatively small country still, and we have to have good trading relationships with our neighbours. And our brands and our investment, we have a lot of investment in Europe. We do need that EU market as a trading partner. From what I understand, I'm not an expert on financial services, but London is still the world leader in terms of financial services. And
what do businessmen think about?
I think the majority of business people still feel that we have a role in the EU, that it would have a negative impact if we came out of the EU. I think the City of London also has the same view. With all referendums, you have emotion and you have logic.
Yes.
And it's always a bit of a battle between emotion and logic. But I think at the end of the day, some people will be emotional about having Brussels telling us what to do. It doesn't quite work like that. I think the media sort of exaggerate some of those issues. But I think the logic actually will prevail, and that we will stay in the EU, because the EU will change. I mean, the EU as it currently stands is having problems, so the EU has to change, and UK has to be part of that change. And David Cameron's already negotiated some major improvements on behalf of UK, and I think that will be a continuing process. And I think the other smaller EU countries, the new countries that have come into EU, do not want to see the UK out of the EU, because we've always supported Turkey's accession to the EU, and we still do. And we've always supported the smaller countries in the EU. And if we left, the two powers will be France and Germany.
Yes.
And my personal view is UK is that balance between these other two countries, and that's why I think UK should stay.
Okay, Mr. Gaunt, thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evet, üst düzeyde Türkiye'de İngiliz Ticaret Odası Yönetim Kurulu Başkanı Chris Gaunt konuğumuzdu. Haftaya görüşmek üzere, hoşça kalın.